Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. Another day and another drama channel drama. Today it involves Dustin Dailey, It's Tea Time, and T-Trigger. So this video is going to be a continuation of my last video that involves the situation now known as Wiggate. So if you haven't seen my previous video, I will put a card up over here and also link it down in the description below. But for a quick recap about that video, basically in Tea Time's video and live, they talked about Carrie the Nosy Housefrau and made fun of her wigs. Well, this blew up on Twitter about people asking why is she wearing wigs, and people were speculating if she had cancer or some kind of medical condition. And in that video I said if she has some kind of medical condition, that is her story to tell if and when she decides to tell it. And then after that whole situation blew up, Carrie did come out and state that yes, she is in fact a cancer survivor, and that is why she wears her wigs. Well, this just continued to blow up on Twitter with people who are insinuating other things. T-Trigger then tweeted out a screenshot of one of Dustin's old posts with a meme attached to it that says, "That one nosy bee that still looks at your Twitter even though she is blocked." And T-Trigger's tweet reads, "Speaking of shaming cancer survivors, remember when 3Daily made fun of Jen's wig? I sure do." To which Dustin replied saying, "Wow, you do realize that this could apply to anyone, right? This is a meme. T-Trigger, please, please, please do better." And I completely agree with Dustin on this one. I mean, that meme has been everywhere for a while. It literally could be applied towards anyone who that you have blocked and they continue to look at your Twitter and post by a sock account. So it literally could be about anyone. It doesn't necessarily fit this situation. But if you want to make it fit this situation, you're going to try to make it fit. And then Ellie jumps into the conversation by tweeting out, "For context, Dustin was shading Jen's hair, a cancer survivor, and nobody cared then. This is a picture of @HarleyJenMC used on Twitter and still uses on her YouTube channel." Now, as we zoom in on the picture, to me, the only similarities that I see between this and that meme picture is the fact that they are both brown. So I feel like Ellie is just reaching with this tweet saying that it is in fact about Jen, because I could not find any context about that tweet referencing that it was for sure towards Jen. And then we get to the tweet from Dustin that completely blew up all over Twitter and all over my timeline, and this is what he said. "Ellie, honey, did you see where I was defending your lapdog's tea time because I know for a fact they wouldn't know anything about what they were being accused of? You're disgusting to even try to make the connection here about Jen. An attempt was made yet again." And the tweet that Dustin was referring to about tea time reads as follows. "And let me elaborate, I know for a fact that It's Tea Time wouldn't be cracking jokes about wigs because she's a cancer survivor. It's not something that had been shared until this point." All right, let's go back to that term lapdog from Dustin's previous tweet. If you are unaware of what the term lapdog is, this is what it is defined as: a small dog kept as a pet, a person or organization which is influenced or controlled by another. So basically it's saying something like a chihuahua or like a miniature toy poodle or something like that, like a small dog, or a person that you can influence and control, and you can have them help you frame your narrative or take your side on things, stuff along those lines. And then T-Trigger quote tweeted Dustin's tweet about the lapdog comment and said, "Here's @3Daily calling POCs a lapdog." And literally all of this entire conversation, none of this had to do with race, so I have no idea why T-Trigger had to try to bring race into the narrative. Literally, by saying somebody is a lapdog, that's just saying they are able to be controlled by somebody else to help them frame a narrative or to defend them. It literally has nothing to do with race. He then doubled down on that statement by saying, "You've never heard that calling POC a dog is racist? Okay." There is a huge difference between calling somebody a dog and calling somebody a lapdog. Calling somebody a lapdog has to refer to their character and their abilities to be persuaded, whereas calling somebody just a dog is completely inappropriate. So you're literally changing the entire phrasing of your tweet by removing the word lap to say that he is now just calling them a dog instead of lap dogs. I swear that this reach is giving me flashbacks of the time that T-Trigger was trying to paint Nick Snyder as anti-Semitic when he called Here for the Tea a puppet master. So here we have T-Trigger yet again trying to paint the narrative of somebody else's character by taking words that they have said and twisting them and trying to use them against them to paint them in a negative light. But one of my biggest issues with this whole thing between T-Trigger and Dustin is when it involves a situation such as race that you are not a part of. As a person of color, you are allowed to say what you're offended at and what you're not. If you are not a person of color, you can see things that are racist and inappropriate and speak on them, such as, police brutality, stuff like that, the incarceration rate of people of color versus white people. There are huge issues that should be addressed when it comes to race. But when you try to paint somebody in a negative light to fit your narrative because you don't like them, then it's not right. And there were some people in the comments that completely agreed with what I'm saying now. And here's what they had to say. One person said, "Please save it. Your explanation is not needed. Those of us actual black people know the connotation of that word, and you're doing nothing but pushing racist BS. And that is exactly what it is. Don't at me. I don't want to hear none of your colonizer poo you spew." Another person said, "I am very, very tired of the race baiting on Twitter. It's ridiculous and sad. Knowing the only way to get a reaction is to throw the term POC in front to make something out of nothing. It's sickening. And guess what? As a black woman, also a POC, I am insulted at T-Trigger." She followed that up to correct it, saying, "I am insulted at T-Trigger." She then continued on to say, "It's wrong, period. Real racism is happening out there. Have that same energy and tweet with the same vitriol when another POC is racially profiled or abused in real life. Real injustice is being watered down by this BS. At It's Tea Time should feel a way about this as well." Another person replied saying the following, "I'm honestly glad someone else is seeing this as well, and I'm sick of this baiting, weaponizing our issues to bring people they hate down." And she replied, "That part." And she is absolutely right. Tea Time should have a feeling about it as well. And it turns out that they agree with T-Trigger, as you can see in this screenshot, that they liked T-Trigger's original tweet. Dustin then followed all this up with one final statement that reads as follows. "I would never insult anyone by way of the color of their skin. Lapdog is an often used term to describe someone who ass kisses someone else. It has nothing to do with anyone owning anyone either. It wasn't even a comparison of a person to an animal. It's a metaphor. It pains me that anyone would truly believe in their heart that I would be this way. To label this as a racist attack blows my mind. Comparing anyone to animals is wrong, but this simply wasn't a comparison. It was a figure of speech and nothing more." Okay, so I am going to say that I do not have the right to say whether or not Tea Time should be offended or they shouldn't be. How they feel is all up to them. And if they are offended by this tweet, then that is their right to be. Now, when somebody else, especially somebody who this narrative does not portray to, like a white person who is bringing up a status or a tweet about a person of color gets involved, then the issue is that you're trying to frame the narrative about somebody else and paint them in a negative light because you guys just don't get along. Like, to bring these issues up on a public forum when they have no issue with race to begin with, you're really just trying to bring somebody else down because you don't like them. And I agree with that other person that says that when this is constantly done, it's drawing attention away from the real issues in real life of people who are mistreated on a daily basis because they are a person of color. And it is complete BS. Like, this needs to stop. The race baiting needs to stop, and it's getting exhausting. So if Tea Time is offended by this tweet that Dustin put out, then yes, you can address it. But when somebody else who isn't even involved in the conversation tries to get involved and then make it a race issue, it's just absolutely disgusting and it needs to stop. But that is everything that I have for today's video, so I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think that Dustin's tweet was innocent and just saying that Tea Time is controlled by other people, or do you think that there was more to the tweet? Do you think that Tea Time should or should not be offended about the tweet? Do you think that T-Trigger should have involved himself, or do you think that he should have just completely stayed away? Do you think that he is trying to twist this into a race issue when it wasn't one to begin with? I would love to know what you think down in the comments below. Please make sure you keep it respectful. If there are any inappropriate comments, I will be deleting them. If you like this video, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Also, if you are new to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit that big red subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that bell icon and set all of your notifications to on so you'll be notified of every time that I upload a new video. All right, that's everything for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.